evening to all of you. So today from Uplift Pro Academy, I would like to welcome everybody out here to this beautiful Sunday evening's webinar that is non-traditional or non-orthodox career options in accounting. So when we say non-traditional, the question comes, what is traditional? What is orthodox, right? So basically, as we all are Indian out here, we know what are the traditional ways once you are a commerce student. As soon as, even in your +2, if you take commerce, generally our parents tell us to go for, after, like, first of all, you have to do BCom or BBA in finance, and then either MCom or MBA finance. Or if you want to go for a professional qualification, then generally it's a chartered accounting qualification, which is considered as a very esteemed qualification of the country. Or if you are more oriented towards management accounting, you can be a cost accountant or a management accountant, or they call it as ICWA, nowadays CMA India, right? Do you agree? So these are the traditional qualifications in for a commerce student, either BCom, MCom, or BCom, MBA finance, and then the chartered accounting qualification and cost accounting qualification, sometimes company secretaryship. That's not totally finance, but to some extent that's finance. So today our topic of discussion is non-traditional career options in accounting. Due to globalization, we know everything has mixed West, East. There is no differentiation nowadays. So for the last 10 years, I can see, you can say not 10 years, 10 to 12 years, people from India, students from India, they are getting fascinated towards the international courses. There are some reasons why they are fascinated towards international courses. So there are a number of courses which they are getting fascinated towards. So we have, I won't make it lengthy because we have our esteemed speakers who will be speaking on those topics, on those courses. We have Mr. Sunil Deshmukh. He is a esteemed speaker, a C-suite executive, he is an ex-CEO, and he is also a global director of IMA US. Welcome to you, sir. We have Rinku Bhattacharya, ma'am. She's a CMA US and CPA US. She is a CFO of a US NGO, and she is also a global director of IMA US. So we are very fortunate to have this people among us in this evening, and would like to listen to them. Shreya, could you please go to the next slide, please? Yes. So these are just the some of the non-traditional courses, accounting courses in F&A. I think most of you know about it. Our speakers will be talking about it. So that's fine. I would like to invite Mr. Deshmukh to share his slides and give us some enlightenment on the same topic.
Yep. Thank you very much, and I really thank you for inviting me. Let me first try to. How do I share the screen? Can you remove your screen sharing?
Yeah, sure. Shreya, please remove the screen. Yes.
Okay. Can you see my screen now?
We can. Yes, sir.
Let me put it on a, yeah. Can you see it on a presentation mode now? Yeah.
Right.
Great. So first of all, thank you very much for inviting me. And I congratulate all those students, all those who are attending this program. They are committed because they are attending this program on a Sunday evening. So that shows the first element of their commitment, which is very important. If one needs to achieve something, commitment is very, very important. And attending on a Sunday evening when India is losing the cricket match, and there are some interesting programs going on a TV. Students
So
coming
true.
here means they are committed. So we all know career is a very important thing in everyone's life, not only your life, my life, but all of us talk career. Most spoken topic in our lives for the first 25 years of our real life is career, 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 what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it. And there is enough confusion created by society, community, colleges, schools, principals, family to add to that. And we all are always worried what is career and how do I achieve my career and all. So there are many aspects in the career. What I always speak about the career is basically about whenever one need to be a successful. See, why we all want to achieve career or money or position or settlement or life or whatever you want to say, that we all want to see ourselves as a successful people. And that's where this all starts. If one wants to achieve a success, success comes because of many things. But one of the most important thing where success comes is basically one. So my analogy of success is if one wants to be successful, one need to have balancing act, or one need to do the balancing act. And when I say balancing act, what I mean to say is that there is a three-legged stool which is being shown here on the slide. And if you want to ride the stool, which is a three-legged stool, so there are three legs, all the three legs need to be of equal height, equal width, equal strength. Then only the stool will get balanced and one can sit on the stool. And we all try to balance this stool with the success of knowledge or degree or qualification. But that's the only one aspect of, or that's the only one leg of the stool. And what I'm trying to say here in this slide is that the first leg of the stool, which is very, very important, is the domain knowledge or the expertise in your area of knowledge, which could be your chartered accountancy, which could be your cost accountancy or MBA or engineering, whatever. Second leg in today's world to be successful and to be able to balance this tool is the technology or the knowledge which is driving that field. For example, if you want to become a good finance professional, you need to understand what is the software or technology driving this profession. For example, you need to know how Tally works or how Oracle Financial works or how SAP works. So you have to work in your functional expertise with the help of technology or enabling technology. And third most important aspect is obviously the emotional intelligence, which is the softer skills. How do you talk to people? How do you mix with the people? And how do you interact? And what are your leadership skills? Emotional intelligence, which is what we typically call. Now, topic for today's discussion was non-traditional. I am using the word here instead of accounting. I am taking the liberty of using the word finance and accounting, because finance and accounting are two related terms which are very closely related. So we need to look at them, both of them together. And you know, traditional career in finance and accounting in past or even today is a chartered accountancy course where one completes the CA examination and become an auditor or become a practicing chartered accountant or an auditor. But before we get into that traditional financial accounting and non-traditional financial accounting, it is very important to understand what is the difference between finance and accounting. Unless we know that difference, it will be difficult to differentiate and talk to you about various opportunities. So when we talk the finance, so those people who work in finance, they typically focus on financial planning and directing the financial transactions for an organization. What does it mean is that they plan the money, they plan the funds, and they plan the funds in such a way that it is used for the benefit of the organization. Could be managing the money, could be spending the money, could be raising the money, or whatever it is. Whereas accounting people focuses on recording and reporting those transactions. So raising the money is one aspect, but accounting that money is a different aspect. So that is where the difference lies between finance and accounting. Finance people talk about money from a raising the money, utilization of money, that point of view, whereas accounting people record the transactions and interpret those transactions in a monetary terms in the form of profit and loss account and other. Now, with this knowledge being there, I don't know how many of you know that the double entry bookkeeping system, the double entry bookkeeping accounting system, where we say that there is a, for every debit, there is a corresponding credit, or the double entry bookkeeping system says that debit and credit are the two aspects of the accounting. And this double entry bookkeeping system was developed, or was, you can say, introduced, invented, whatever you want to say that, by an Italian person by name Luca Pacioli, and he's also known as the father of accounting. So Luca Pacioli in the 14th century was the first person to provide a full knowledge and information about how to do the double entry accounting method. And he was basically a mathematician, but he worked with the Leonardo da Vinci. You know, he's a famous artist, and they worked together. And this guy developed a double entry accounting bookkeeping system, and that's why he's called the father of accounting. Now, knowing now what is double entry bookkeeping system, what is the general difference between finance and account, let us see what is finance. When we use the word finance, what does it mean in a corporate life and in our personal life? So finance, according to me, in a simple terms, is an art and science of managing the money. Is an art and science of managing the money. Why it is art? Because you need to be creative in managing your money. That's why it's an art. And why it's science? Because it's a number, it's mathematics. You have to count the money, you have to measure the money, you have to utilize the money. So it's a science. But this is art and science of managing the money. And what is financial management? Financial management is concerned with, or it talks about, procurement. That is called, in our financial terminology, we call it sourcing, allocation, that is utilization, and control, which is sustenance. So a financial management is a process of sourcing, means raising the money, allocation means utilization of money, and control means sustaining that money or utilizing that money for a longer period of time, as long as your corporate or your business sustaining. And that is why financial resources of an organization are very, very important as far as the continuity, perpetual continuity of an business or organization is concerned. So I think with this, you know what's the meaning of finance and accounting. Finance, accounting, financial management. Now let us get into the classification of finance function. Okay. So typically we classify finance function into two parts. One is the personal finance and one is the corporate finance. So we are not going to talk here about the personal finance because our intention here is from an education point of view, career point of view. So we'll talk about the corporate financial management. So in a corporate financial management, there are two important functions which we have already seen, but further to talk it in a new terminology, treasury function and accounting and control function. So treasury is money management, fund management, cash basis, money coming in, money going out. So that's treasury. So we have positions like CFO, treasurer, those are typically called as a treasury function. And then you have accounting and control function, which is basically the bookkeeping and recording, where we have a chief accountant or controller who basically accounts or records the transaction. And when you record the transaction in an accounting and accounting methodology, there is a method called mercantile accounting system. And when you deal with the treasury, there is a cash accounting system. So we are not getting into the, I'm not going to teach you the finance and accounting, but I'm giving you overall at a glance, how does classification happens in the finance and accounting. Now, traditionally, already we all know that traditional career options for a finance and accounting profession anywhere in the world is obviously the chartered accountancy course, where you pass the chartered accountancy examination, you become an auditor, you become a tax auditor, or you become a statutory auditor. You can do a job in a corporate, you can do a job in a government, or you can practice your own. But that was the traditionally. In today's world, today's modern world, we are in a VUCA world, or we are in an industry 4.0 from a technology point of view. There are various options available, or there are various huge scope for a finance and accounting professionals in various fields. So obviously bookkeeping, financial accounting bookkeeping, which is what the chartered accountant typically does. So that's why it's first. Then we have financial planning and budgeting and forecasting. This is also an important aspect in a corporate management. financial planning, budgeting, and forecasting, which is typically done by a management accountant, a CMA or ICAA in our Indian perspective. Then you have treasury management, which is money management, which is a cash flow, or which is the money coming in and money going out. Then you have cost and management accounting, which typically talks about the pricing aspect, right? If you are manufacturing a product, what is the cost of that product? How do you arrive at a cost? How do you arrive at a price? How do you arrive at a profitability? So that's the cost aspect of a product or a function. Then obviously very, very important in today's world from a compliance point of view, audit and internal audit. And when I say audit, is statutory audit, internal audit. You have risk management. In today's world, there's a huge importance given to the risk management. So one of the very important function of a finance or non-traditional finance professional could be risk management. And there is a COSO guidelines, there is an enterprise-wide risk management, ERM framework, and all those things. There are so many things. Also, one of the very, very important aspect in today's modern world is forensic accounting, or basically you see nowadays frauds very commonly being seen happening. So forensic accounting is basically identifying the frauds or identifying the lacunas, or when a fraud has happened, identifying how it's happened and closing those loops where it has happened. Obviously, taxation and compliance is another aspect which is very, very important in a finance and accounting profession. Reporting, decision-making, interpretation of financial data and MIS. This is another aspect of large corporates which are using. But the two new areas which has been developed in last 5 years, or which are going to get developed over a period of next 5 to 10 years, as far as non-traditional financial and accounting career is concerned, one is the fintech career, where a finance and accounting profession works along with technology or works in technology in order to manage the business. So that's typically the ERP system, information technology. And there are so many things we'll see in next few slides. Another area which is upcoming and which is a huge, going to become a huge importance is called sustainability accounting. And under sustainability accounting, we talk about the ESG, which is typically called environmental, social, and governance. So all we talk like carbon footprint, right? How the corporates are polluting the environment, or we talk about plastics, or we talk about water conservation, or electricity generation by way of solar power or windmill. So these are all aspects of sustainability. And there is a concept of triple P or triple bottom line. I will not get into that, but basically what does it mean is that when we operate in today's world, in a corporate world, we need to ensure that we follow the basic principles of framework of environmental, social, and governance. Governance talks about compliance. Social means people management, society management, community management, stakeholder management, and environment is obviously the environment which we live in. Now, just to give you a brief overview, historical accounting and modern day accounting, I'm not getting too much into discussion here, but what I'm trying to tell you is that the traditional model of accounting was more on a historical accounting basis. What happened in the past, or what happened last month, what happened last year, right? So traditional accounting model was traditional record to report process. So what they will do, they will pass the journal entry, they will close the month, accounting reconciliations, analysis, reporting, all those things. So this work was typically done by BCom, MCom, or typically chartered accountants. So this is the old way of doing the accounting based on a historical accounting model. Now, the real-time accounting, which is what we do today. In today's world, everything is quick. We want every information on a press of a button, right? You want my sale, what is my sale today? I don't want to know what was my sale last year. I want to know what was my sale today up to 4 o'clock or yesterday evening up to 5 o'clock. So this is a continuous accounting model where the information and data is available on a real-time basis. And this continuous accounting model is typically managed by the non-traditional accounting professionals who could be CMAs or CFAs or CRM and other professionals. And this includes managing the money and, of course, recording the transaction. Now, you all know Institute of Management Accountant, where I'm a global director, and my colleague Rinku is also a global director along with me there. Institute of Management Accountant based in America, we have a qualification by name CMA. So Institute of Management Accountants of America, they have got a framework developed by the Institute for the Management Accounting profession. or a finance function. Now, this framework is very interesting because it talks about various aspects what we discussed just now in the past 3-4 slides. We discuss about planning, financial planning. So they say that a management accountant or finance profession need to understand strategy, planning and performance, so role as a visionary, reporting and control. I said that we need to report in the form of P&L, balance sheet, director's report, and so many other information. Technology, I talked about the fintech. So that is the fintech aspect of the technology. Business acumen and operations. So finance professional need to be a partner with the CEO and board of directors and leadership. And of course, the professional ethics and values, which is the governance part of the, but most important is the leadership function. So a finance professional, a non-traditional finance accounting professional also needs to lead all these aspects and contribute to the growth of business along with the top management of the company. So what could be the skills for a good finance and accounting professional? I'm just giving a generally an idea. I'm not going to get into detail, but obviously a good finance accounting professional need to have a problem-solving mindset, analytical mind, good communication, formal finance qualification, must have curiosity, attention to detail. Technology orientation is very, very important. Today, you cannot become a good finance or accounting professional if you do not know how to manage the softwares or how to manage the ERP system, which is driving that business. What could be a typical career path for a finance professional? This is a question asked to me many times by many students when I go and talk. Typically, if you start as a non-traditional accounting or traditional accounting finance professional, we have to go on a bottoms-up basis here. You start at the entry level, which is a finance assistant, junior financial assistant, accounts clerk, whatever you want to call. Then you become an individual contributor. Then you can become a finance manager. Then you can become a finance director, a treasurer or vice president of finance, and then the chief financial officer. So this is a typical hierarchy for a accounting and finance profession over a period of, some people can achieve in 10 years, some people may achieve in 20 years. And on the right-hand side, what I have shown is this is my personal hierarchy. When I started as a finance professional, how do I started and eventually where I ended? So I started as a cost and management accountant, then became the finance manager, then became financial controller, then I became general manager of finance, then I became a CFO, finance director, and then I crossed the functional limits and I went into the general management and became a managing director and group CEO and managing director eventually. The purpose of showing this slide is not to say who am I or what I was. What I'm trying to say here is that even a finance professional can break the glass ceiling, can go up to the level of CEO and managing director level and run the organization as a very successful leadership professional. Financial technology in today's world, one must know that ERP system or enterprise resource planning system or enterprise business planning systems are in existence. If you go in a corporate world, you have to work in one of these systems. It could be Oracle, it could be SAP, Tally, or something like that. And one need to understand how the technology works, how each function is being computerized, and how the results or how the data goes in and data comes out. Another important aspect which I always talk when I talk to any students, be it career point of view or anything, when you get into a corporate world, your intelligence quotient is very important, right? We all know that IQ is very, very important, and IQ is your first measure of showing your knowledge, your expertise, and all that. But if you want to grow in the corporate world or in your life also, one need to understand, along with IQ, you also need to have intelligence quotient or emotional intelligence. Sorry, the emotional quotient or the emotional intelligence. And which is the third part of the three-legged stool which I was showing is, how do you manage yourself? How do you communicate with the people? What is your motivation, right? What is your social skills? How do you work in the teams? All those things become very, very important. So only having a good finance and accounting qualification, be it traditional or non-traditional, is not sufficient. One need to understand that you have to work with the people and develop the soft skills in the form of emotional intelligence. So I think these are the slides, what I wanted to show it to you. So we have seen what is finance, what is double entry bookkeeping system, who developed it, what are the branches in finance, what is the difference between finance and accounting. We have also seen what's the importance of technology. as far as the finance profession is concerned. And then obviously we have seen what are the skills required to be a good finance and accounting professional. So with this, I'll stop here. And you have any questions, I leave it. I'm open for the question. I'll stop sharing my screen now.
Thank you so much, Deshmukh sir.
Thank you.
Really informative. Not only informative, it was really, like it shows a lot of things which we didn't know before.
Yeah.
Guys, if you have any question, please ask, sir. Any question, guys?
So my question was, in India, it is said that there's not much scope for doing a course like CFA or CMA. Is that true, or like it's just useful only in abroad?
Yeah, thanks, Karan. So I always believe that one is you need to decide what is right and what is wrong for you, number one. And whenever someone says there is no scope, means I doubt that person's ability. There is a huge scope, according to me, for finance profession across the world in all domains, be it traditional financial accounting or non-traditional financial accounting. I would say CMA or even CFA, there's a huge demand. There is no doubt about that. And I can, from horse's mouth, we are hearing, I am a global director sitting on the board of IMA. We do survey across the world how finance and accounting profession is growing, where it is growing. And India is the highest growth market for finance and accounting profession, even for CMA or other courses in finance. So the truth that there is no scope or it is not growth is absolutely, according to me, wrong. You can see the numbers. You can do a simple research on Google at what rate accounting finance profession is growing in India. You will see. And the number of students registering, you can even ask your Uplift Pro guys that how many number of students are registering for the finance and accounting courses. The huge demand, huge demand. But always remember that your qualification or your course or achieving a degree is only one aspect. Once you pass that qualification or course, you need to create scope for yourself. What is your specialization? Why should I hire Karan? Of course, qualification is the first thing. The entry point is your degree. But after that, it's all about you. How do you develop your personality? How do you get your additional skills, technology knowledge, communication knowledge, and all those things? According to me, there's a huge scope.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks.
Well, thank you, Karan. We have Anjali here. Anjali is our CMA US student, and she has asked you, how is CMA India and CMA US differentiated as traditional and non-traditional career?
So first thing, Anjali, is that chartered accountancy or CPA internationally can be called as a traditional accounting career. Anything which is other than CA or CPA or ACCA is, according to me, non-traditional, right? Because that's why I showed you the slide in the year 14th century, Luca Pacioli developed the double entry bookkeeping system. The intention was that is how the tradition started, where every debit has a corresponding credit. That system was first started, and that still exists. Nothing wrong in that. But what I'm trying to say, the evolution of finance and accounting profession on a non-traditional way started with management accounting. So be it Indian CMA or American CMA or British CIMA or anything, of course, they are all non-traditional courses. So there is nothing wrong in that. And I would say that in a corporate world, we need more of a non-traditional accountants than a traditional accountant. You can have only 1 or 2 chartered accountants managing the finance profession, but you need to have 5, 6 management accountants to manage different functions. Maybe it's supply chain, maybe it's cost and management accounting, maybe it's management reporting, maybe it's financial analysis, so many things.
Okay. So Anjali sir has put both CMA India and CMA US under non-traditional management accounting.
Yeah, but if you want to say from a number of years perspective, so you need to understand what is your definition of
from
traditional.
The history.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay, any other question, guys? Abhiru. Sir, is it possible to switch from traditional accounting to, just a sec, from traditional accounting to non-traditional accounting in India, especially in mid-career? A crucial question.
Very interesting question. And
I have faced this, like, many people ask this thing.
and I must say that first, it's congratulations. Who is this Abhiroop for asking these questions? This is very, very important. You have to always remember that it is always possible to switch your career from traditional to non-traditional. And if you see the most successful people, they may start their career as a traditional accounting professional, but eventually they make career in non-traditional finance profession. And it is, there are thousands and thousands of examples of people who switch their career from traditional finance and accounting into non-traditional and finance. And it's possible. And beyond the level, it's not only the qualification, it's also your mindset. So we have a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, right? So one need to have a growth mindset that I want to grow in my career, and I see a more growth on non-traditional accounting and finance side. I need to switch there. Like I switched my career from finance all the way to general management. Very, very non-traditional, right? I mean, when I shifted, moved from finance to general management, there were very few people doing that. Nowadays, it's very common. So it is possible, and it's all in your mind that whatever you want to do, you can achieve. And I would say, please do that. One need to review their career progression every 5 years, and even nowadays, every 3 years, I would say. Thank you.
Abhirup, if you come to Uplift Pro, you can see most of our students, they are in their 30s and 40s. So all of them are in their mid-career. Okay, thank you. Any other question, guys? Else, I will call Rinku Bhattacharya di. Rinku Bhattacharya.
Yes, yes. Sorry, I mean, my video for some reason is not working, but I'm here. Hopefully you can hear me, right?
Yeah, we can very well hear.
Okay.
Welcome to you here, ma'am.
Thank you.
So Rinku, just give me a moment before you start. So thank you, Uplift Pro. I will try to be here for some more time, but I have a hard stop in next 15-20 minutes. So Rinku, thank you very much. And I'm very sorry I will not be able to listen to you completely, but I will make it up some point of time and I will listen the video of this conversation.
Sure, sir. I will send you the video. But you have one more question from Vihan. Why not to do MBA Finance rather than CMA US?
Do both the things. Who is stopping you? We all need to understand, we have that fixed thing in our mind, MBA is better and CMA is not better. MBA has got that, what you can say, branding, which CMA may not have. But ultimately, it doesn't make any difference whether you are a CMA from US or you are MBA in finance, right? As long as you want to make a career in finance and accounting and you want to grow in the life, doesn't make difference. Typically, when MBA program was started, originally, traditionally, when it was started, it was never meant to be for finance professionals. MBA was only started for marketing and sales and distribution. Please understand that. But as everyone want to grow their business, as everyone want to become big, so they introduce MBA in finance, MBA in operations management, MBA in HR management. But I would say if you want really good in finance and accounting profession, I would say you must have one formal or non-formal finance accounting qualification, which is either CA or CMA or CPA or whatever it is. No one is stopping you to do MBA as well. Thank you. I hope I have answered that.
Thank you, sir. Yes, Abhirup, if you really want to do MBA Finance, I would just like to add one line. Do it from a Tier 1 institution, like the IIMs or, like SP Jain or XLRI or something. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, I think there is no other question from anybody. Thank you, sir. Please do come again.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Rinku Bhattacharya di, it's all yours now.
Okay. So since Mr. Deshmukh has given such a good introduction, what I'll do is actually touch on just a few points that reiterate a lot of what he's saying. I mean, I personally think when we go to school, sometimes when we are starting out, whether we are choosing commerce or whether we are choosing science or anything else, you're doing something that initially you thought made sense, you thought you had some interest in it, and
ऊपर किधर गए चले थे वो सोए हुए हैं सारे तो पीछे आपके फिर
Priya, could you please mute him?
so what happens when you're later at crossroads? You're looking at various different options, and that's, to me, a stage where you have a foundation. You're looking at that foundation and trying to see what can I build on this next. And honestly, if your foundation is strong, I feel you can go either route. You shouldn't box yourself into saying, I chose a traditional path, now I'm stuck with that traditional path. So the question then becomes, why would we even look at non-traditional options? My answer for that is, once you're exploring career options, really what you're trying to do is differentiate yourself from the next person. This can be done through different credentials. It can be done just some people bring to the table a very unique skill set. That is their differentiation strategy. Because basically, at the end of the day, what we are trying to do is we are entering the market, the career market and the job market. We are competing with other professionals like ourselves. So really our goal needs to be looking at ourselves, figuring out, how do I stand out? How do I make myself a little bit different from the next candidate who is a lot like me? And obviously, you're doing this by being competitive, you're doing this by differentiating yourself. But it's really very important when you're looking at different credentials to have different options. Like Mr. Deshmukh said, sometimes you don't have to choose one or the other. Sometimes having both, maybe a little bit of the traditional mixed in with the non-traditional, makes you more competitive. Hopefully, for everyone, their goal is to be successful. There are many roadways to the same path. And, it's not a straight line. We meander. Sometimes we go a certain direction. We look at it and say, you know what, this is good, but I want to take a left turn. Sometimes you don't always take the fastest route to something, but that's okay because your ultimate goal with your professional life should be you want to be happy, you want to be successful, and most importantly, you want to feel validated doing what you're doing. An important thing with any financial path that you take, we just heard about the origins of accounting. Now that's still relevant. There's still double entry bookkeeping. Most people, in fact, a lot of accounting, the foundation of it still remains double entry bookkeeping. However, it's still evolving with new technologies, with new thought processes. What we thought of as accounting, let's say 10 or 15 years ago, is a little bit different today. So it's very important. It's beyond your certification, really. You have to stay current with the new trends. So this is where, when you're considering and thinking of a certification, don't just think of something that's short term. A lot of these non-traditional certifications come with certifying bodies which offer you memberships to stay current. It is important for anyone to keep learning, to look at new things, to not have yourself become outdated. It's probably the same reason why Apple keeps coming up with different iPhones. I mean, they could stick to probably the same iPhone. Look, it would work. But they realize in order for them to be competitive in the market, making small tweaks, listening to what the customer wants, and coming up with new models is important. It's the same thing for a professional. You're in a changing market. So, what you have to do is look and see where are the trends going. I mean, of course, your foundation degree, what path you choose, traditional or non traditional, is an important part of it. But it doesn't stop there. I mean, just like you saw Mr. Deshmukh's hierarchy, chances are those people who are breaking the glass ceiling, they are continuing and committing to a path of lifelong learning. When we are looking, though, back to accounting, some of the key trends that I see that are different from, I'd say, even a decade ago is the accountant's role has changed. There's a lot more cross-pollination. There's a lot more integration between accounting, technology, some of the software departments, mostly because even in something like marketing, it's a lot more data-driven than it used to be, let's say 5 or 10 years ago. Now, this is where you're circling back to accounting almost being in the center of most business functions, because traditional thinking is accounting is needed to do the bookkeeping, accounting is needed for audits and certifying business reports. Today's concept of accounting is really an accountant is a thought partner. An accountant is working with different departments to develop different ways of measuring things. This is where today's accounting is much more than debits and credits. Technology has played a very important part in this role, which is again why cross-disciplinary thinking is very important. I will almost say, in order to be successful in any financial path, fintech being one of them, you have to have a strong understanding of technology, because a lot of what used to be done manually has been automated. So what used to be the traditional thinking, what used to be referred to as keeping books or bookkeeping, today is very different. That's mostly automated, or there are systems that will help you take out a lot of the less interesting parts of the function. The good thing about this is that is actually freeing up today's accountants to use their brain, to analyze data, to be creative. And I think one shouldn't be scared of technology. One should actually look at technology in the finance function as a creative tool. I mean, you can structure, slice, dice a lot more data in a much shorter time than you could before. So this brings us, even before I go to some of the non-traditional credentials and ways to approach accounting, I wanted to just talk about broadly some of the career paths that I think are available to today's finance graduate. You definitely can take on it, go a hardcore route of working with accounting information systems, where you're building, studying, looking at just the technology aspect of accounting. There's a lot of teaching and research within accounting, where you can just continue with your BCom, your MCom, and just look at, after all, someone's got to continue teaching accounting so that we can have new accounting students that sustain the finance profession going on. There's a lot of AI and RPA that is being used in accounting. You can combine your basic education and step into those lines. Again, I've mentioned cross-disciplinary professionalism. You can take this aspect, you can partner with your engineers because they need someone who understands the language of accounting in order for them to build software, in order for them to continue that path. Mr. Deshmukh mentioned ESG. This is a huge, very hot area. Now here, while people are focusing on things like sustainability, looking at the impact of reducing one's carbon footprint, all of this needs measurement. An accountant interested in things like corporate governance, social responsibility, can find a niche, either contributing to ESG as a whole or becoming a part of their ESG efforts within their company. Metrics are needed almost everywhere in every action. So bottom line is, I think whatever direction you're choosing as a finance professional, think of yourself in the center of the organization rather than the old thinking where an accountant is thinking, I'm in the back office, I am keeping records and books, and that is my job. That is very important. That is still a key part of an accountant's job and responsibilities. But the new accountant, today's accountant, really is effective by being a partner to the multiple departments that can use their skills. So we've talked about some of the non-traditional paths, if you will. I'd really like to think of them less as non-traditional, more as certifications that are outside the realm of what used to be our ecosystem, let's say 20 years ago. So you have the ACCA certification. What do you get from this? You are a part of a membership organization. It's a global membership organization. Once again, what this is doing for you is connecting you to a network. You have a general business certification that's recognized in many countries. It's compatible with several other regional certifications. So now this is very important. This will be a theme that I'll highlight with most of the non-traditional certifications we talk about. Sure, you can pick one of these, and this could be your only certification. But it doesn't have to be that way because, I mean, I think our professional lives are evolving. In fact, often after you've spent a few years, you realize, gosh, this is good, but I want to do something a little bit different. So, in order to differentiate yourself, taking a non traditional certification to complement what you already have is very important. You then have the CMA certification. I think the biggest value, beyond the fact that it is a well established, recognized credential, is you become a part of a large international membership organization. IMA is part of a network that operates in 140 countries. And I think one of the biggest value propositions that I find of being a CMA and your IMA membership is IMA is constantly looking at value for their members. So I myself have learned so much and I keep on top of things like DEI, ESG and things like that, mostly because I'm so involved in IMA. I mean, I can tell you otherwise, I think I've gotten most of the credentials that I needed to get. Every time when I keep on, I suddenly realize, oh my God, what is ESG? They're talking so much about it. There's a new certification. And these complementary certifications aren't as intense as a formal certification, but they keep you aware of what the new trends are. Because again, most people who are successful will tell you they keep up with the trends, they keep up with their knowledge base. You have the CPA certification. This is, in some ways, probably a little less creative compared to some of the other non traditional certifications, but nonetheless, it's still an international certification. And if your interest is a career in tax planning and auditing, using your CPA certification along with your CA certification is a great idea. It's also an alternative to someone who doesn't want to go through the whole process, but is looking at the certification. And lastly, in the financial realm, while there aren't specific certifications, you do have certifications in the area of blockchain, crypto, and other emerging technologies. So that pretty much is what I had to present. I'd love to listen to or take any questions if there are any.
Thank you so much, Arinku Bhattacharya. Am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Bhattacharya, ma'am. So, guys, if you have any question, please do ask. Nitin has a question.
Yes.
Nitin, you want to speak or type? Hi, Nitin. Do you have a question? Because you raised your hand. Okay, so we are considering that you don't have any question because you are not typing anything. If anybody has any query, please feel free to ask. I think you got a very detailed, point-wise specific description of most of the non-traditional, so-called non-traditional qualifications we are having nowadays. In the just in the slides you have just seen. So I really appreciate this calm, composed approach of yourself, Inkudi. So you have covered actually most of the topics we have mentioned initially. SSCA or CIMA UK or CMA US, CPA US. And the last but not the least, the world is booming nowadays
Exactly.
with blockchain technology, right?
Yeah.
Fintech, blockchain technology, cryptocurrency, bitcoins. So the scope is enormous. And the most important thing, which both the speakers have said, guys, it's an ever evolving world. The market is evolving.
Babu,
So we cannot say that we'll be
Captain,
doing only Malak Asian.
you?
Could you please speak? Could you please mute yourself, Shreya? Is it muted? Okay, thank you. What I was telling is, you cannot restrict yourself within one qualification. It's ever evolving. Maybe today you feel that you need a particular qualification, but after 5 years, you feel that you need to upgrade yourself with something else. After 2 years, you need some more knowledge. So end of the day, it is knowledge. Knowledge is the most important thing compared to qualifications or certificates. Certificates are, yes, important to get the job, for promotions and other things, but knowledge is important to survive. If you don't have proper knowledge in any field, may it be public accounting, chartered accounting, or may it be management accounting, or in the latest fintech world and all, if you don't have knowledge, you won't be able to survive, believe me. So please put more stress on the knowledge gaining part. And of course, you have to go with a certification or a qualification which is updated in the market. Just see the syllabus of the certifications. If you see the syllabus, you will automatically understand. We all are adults. So you'll automatically understand which has the updated things and which doesn't have, which is like little, has a little age-old perspective. Okay, so do no need to worry and crack your heads for. I have seen people, they for years together they're thinking whether I should go for CMA or CPA, whether I should go for CMA and CPA. Why to think for years together? Both have its pros and cons. So you just first you understand whether you want to go for a public accounting course, you want to be a public accountant, you want to deal with debit, credits, taxes, and other things, you want to do auditing, or you want to work in a corporate as a management accountant. So it's totally yours. As Mr. Deshmukh was telling, it's your choice whether you want to go for CMA US or you want to go for MBA Finance, you want to go for some other qualification. It's your choice. We at the most what we can do is we can guide you, we can show you the positive and the negative things. That's it. We are not here to push you for anything. So, well, guys, if you have any further question, we are open. We have Abhirup, we have Anjali, Ankita, Karan. Recently, somebody called Malak Ashan Faruqi has joined. We have Muhammad Safir. We have Nidhi. We have somebody who has logged in as OnePlus Nord 25G. We have Suhit Chatterjee, Sukh Singh. If you have any question, you're welcome to ask.
Good evening, ma'am. I just joined. I missed the session, so I'm looking for CPA from USA.
Okay.
But
Where do
unfortunately,
you stay? Malak,
again?
where do you stay?
I stay in Qatar. My name is not Malak. I am Ehsan. Malak is my daughter.
Ehsan. Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay,
No, it's
Ehsan,
okay.
so
It's okay. The Zoom is my daughter usually use the Zoom, so her name is coming. It's fine. It is
I
not your fault. It's
understand.
my fault. Yeah.
So you're from Qatar and
Yes.
you are interested for CPA US, right?
Yes. I'm
Okay.
Indian chartered accountant.
You already are CA India. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So no worries, our CPA experts are there, and just drop your email ID with us after this webinar is over. One of our experts will take it up and contact you and mail you all the details, call you, and guide you throughout.
Thank you, man. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? Karan? Abhirup?
No, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Karan. Okay, guys, so we understand, we take it that you do not have any further questions and you are already content, you are satisfied with the presentation of our esteemed speakers. Shreya, could you please upload the final slide? Guys, thank you, Rinku Bhattacharya ma'am. Our other speaker, Mr. Sunil Deshmukh, has already left. He was in a hurry. We also had the head of IMA India chapter, Mr. Pranesh Krishnan, but he also left because he was in a Sunday dinner kind of thing. So we missed his speech. Anyway, maybe some other day we'll be having him. So this is our email ID and contact number. It's in the screen. I think all of you can see it. So any question, any further question you have regarding any of the like finance and accounting courses, may it be traditional, non-traditional, or anything. If you are confused, or if you have already decided I want to go for this, like Ehsan asked, I want to go for CPA, would it be helpful for us or not? See, what we give is a neutral suggestion. So it will be same for you also. You have to tell us your background, you have to tell us your experience, your prior qualifications, and the suggestion you will be getting from Uplift Pro Academy will be a neutral suggestion. That's a promise from our side. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Good night.
Thank you, ma'am. Good night.
Thank you.
Have a nice weekend.
You too.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. You have spent the entire Sunday evening with us. Thank you, Nidhi. Shreya, I think we can call it a day. Thank you, Shafi.